You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, the entire professional wrestling world has changed. AEW's Double or Nothing is officially over. StarCast 2 is officially over. The next announcement for where AEW is going to be and a huge event was announced. We'll get into that. We'll talk the wrestling world. We'll talk Jon Moxley on Talk is Jericho. We're going to talk so fucking much this week as we
the ring down.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. You just made the list. This right here is a family.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
When you're listening
And you're listening to
You listen to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Break it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard, you are listening to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew. Snick.
Whole fucking Joe.
Smitty.
I don't believe
Hey,
you.
Smitty.
You look a lot pinker than normal. And it's not even like you're showing the backside of your hands.
I bathed for the first time in a long time.
Knew it. Fucking knew it. As anyone who is listening for a long time heard, we have a brand new introduction. There's a lot of wrestlers that I met at StarCast that I got a nice little soundbite for. I even told Colt Cabana I was not going to take out the Art of Wrestling plug because it's a good podcast. It's like if Jericho was like, you're not listening to Talk is Jericho, but you are listening to Breaking Down the Ring. I'd be like, okay, that's staying in because it's good. You know, it's not like I'll fucking let you put yourself over. You're putting me over. That's fine. That's all I fucking care about. So, yes, AEW's Double or Nothing happened. Fucking Jon Moxley was interviewed on Talk is Jericho. It actually happened a couple days before Double or Nothing, but it came out a couple days after Double or Nothing. There is a lot. Raw and SmackDown really didn't do much. As far as what was coming next. A lot of people said they didn't expect much from Raw because it was a holiday show. But when a wrestling show blows it out of the park, you know, hits it out of the park, blows it out of the water, however you want to say it, you kind of should rewrite something to come back with. Instead, Raw took 50 minutes to get a squash match in. A match, which was a squash match. And then 20 minutes later was the Becky Lynch tag match with... Oh, fuck, I don't even remember who she tagged with now. Oh, Nikki Cross against... yeah. So...
No makeup, Nikki Cross.
Yeah, she's all natural. And I'm fine with that because she is all natural. So there's a lot to get into. We're going to start off with AEW's Double or Nothing. I know how it was for me, and I'll go into my experience of being in Vegas as well as StarCast. But you guys watched it at home. I know Z and Nick, you watched it live. Joe, did you watch it live or did you just watch it as soon as you could?
I watched it live.
Nice. Okay, so Joe, I don't know anything about how you feel about this because you were silent in our group chat when we were talking about stuff. So I want to know, what are your thoughts when you were watching it? What match did you find as you think is the best? Was there a better moment on the show than the best match? And obviously, if you have any criticisms as well, I want to hear that too.
I thought it was. I mean, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed myself. There was I'd say the moment of the night probably was not the match of the night because I'd say the moment of the night was the Dustin and Cody, hug it out session at the end of their bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
There were some really. I was really impressed with Best Friends versus Jack Evans and Helico.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, tore it down. Kenny Omega Jericho was awesome, as you knew it would be. Did not see the John Moxley thing coming at all. That was a huge surprise, which is hard to do these days.
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
So
right off
yeah,
the bat.
I'd probably say the match of the night was probably the Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers.
Oh wow! See, I didn't think that was a match of the night.
What did you think?
Match of the night: Cody and Dustin.
Just for the finish or the whole match?
The whole match. I thought
because it wasn't really that long of an actual match itself.
Right. For the
It
excitement
had
factor.
it had like a great entrance, and then it had the after the match theatrics. Well, not theatrics, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, the match was a solid, old school, like traditional wrestling style match with a lot of color, obviously. But I don't know. I just think the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers is the most exciting match, maybe.
I think that yes, I'll agree with that. The Bucks and the Lucha Brothers was a damn exciting match and a really good story as well. Because
it was.
The way it was built up is these guys haven't been wrestling for a long time, so they're kind of out of it. And there was miscues for them, that they worked into the match that eventually were ironed out as the match went on. My reasoning for Dustin and Cody being the best match is because while it was a solid old school wrestling match, it also brought out way more emotion even in the match, when Cody fucking wiped his blood on it, because the whole match was built as the new era knocking out the Attitude Era. Like, the Attitude Era is no longer going to be the best era of
Cody had
wrestling.
that Attitude Killer belt on.
Yeah, so, and because of that, that's why I thought it was as well. Z, you were watching it. What did you think was the best match and, of course, your moment?
I thought going into it would have been Jericho Kenny, hands down. Because, I mean, that was the only match I was truly invested in. I really enjoyed Cody and Dustin. But my match of the night was probably the Chuck Taylor
Best Friends.
Best Friends versus
That was a really good match.
Jack
really
Evans and Angelica. So
Angelica. Yep, Angelica. From the Rugrats?
Yeah.
She's a bitch.
Reptar always wins, though.
Yep, never go full Raptor. Nick, you were watching it. What's your match of the night and your moment?
I think for me the match of the night was Cody and Dustin. It was good storytelling from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting to see Earl Hebner refereeing that match. I thought he looked in great shape, and he did a good job. And Brandy getting involved with the match and getting thrown out, and all that. I thought it was a really good match and a good story.
That was what, outfit change number 2 for her?
Yeah.
And she had some major wardrobe changes going on.
She looked really good though.
When doesn't she?
Yeah, I was gonna say, come on. She always looks good.
I was on the cruise with her, for Christ's sakes.
Nice.
She looks really good.
Moment of the night for me was I'll just be the one that says Dean Ambrose for me because it was a total. Sorry, I got to get out of that.
That guy's dead.
John Moxley.
Dean Ambrose is dead.
John Moxley.
Mox.
The Mox.
Yep.
What
does the Mox say?
I mean, I did. I gotta say, I used the term I've heard.
Fuck
Joe say
WWE.
before.
That's what he says.
I marked out a little bit because I was like, "Holy shit!" I stood up. I was smacking my girl on the leg because she loves.
Leave
she
me
loves
alone.
John Mark. No, she loves him, and I was like, "It's your boy! It's your boy! Oh my god!" And I was, and I think Jim Ross, hearing him and the excitement in his voice.
Jim Ross gets me every time.
Because he even said he wasn't expecting that. You know what I
Jim,
mean? So,
Jim Ross could make me watch a terrible wrestling match, and Jim Ross would make me care about it.
I love Jim Ross.
Slobber knocker.
He's great.
Yep.
I
hated the other guy on commentary.
Me too, dude.
So that's what I was about to start off with. So let's go into that. I want to. Obviously, there's been a few criticisms about this, and we'll get into them as we go on. But all I heard from Nick and from Z during this was that Alex Marvez was just horrid on commentary.
Like,
I hate that guy.
He's never done it before in his life.
Why is he? He's a football guy. He's not a wrestling guy. He has no business being there. He's got to be. Obviously, it's because he's friends with the Khans or something, and that's already the type of shit that I don't like in the corporate.
Yep.
Like, Dude, you're not a fucking wrestling guy. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, who's the other guy? Excalibur.
Excalibur. That
Excalibur's
guy's
great.
just.
Excalibur
I don't like
and-
him either. He's too fucking indie-rific for me, man.
No, but
like he is like just over the top with his indie nerdisms.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
him and JR
and
made it tolerable.
They did
the
work
other
good
guy
together.
would always
I don't
chime
know.
in.
I've never liked. Sorry, I never liked Excalibur. Go ahead.
No, the other guy would just chime in and like he didn't have any emotion. He didn't really like. You could kind of tell he was reading right from the teleprompter at times, and then as they're like putting over the next show and shit, he kept getting dates and shit wrong.
Yep.
Like it was just it was very unprofessional.
Yeah, where like JR actually had to correct him on a date, which usually it'd be the other way around, you know, because like JR is getting a little older now, but like JR had to like keep this guy on the ball, you know.
Well, and it was even more fucked up because JR and Excalibur both put it over, both say the date, and then the guy says it right after them and says the wrong date. So it's not like it was like an accident. Like you just heard two other people say the exact same thing, and you still fucked it up.
Joe, you said, and so you think this is a corporate pull-in?
Marvez?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Excalibur's the indie guy. I get that. And JR is JR. Marvez, I don't know. He's got no business being there whatsoever. I can, even though I'm not a fan of Excalibur, I can see why he's there, but I just don't like him.
I thought Excalibur went. So when I was watching it, Joe, thank you.
He's just too smart of a smark for me. Like he's
There's
too
a
smarky.
level of smarkness that you just don't like.
Yeah, that's even higher than me. Yeah.
Are you afraid of the smart?
Yeah, maybe
So-
he's more knowledgeable than me, and that bugs me, I guess.
When I was listening, I was actually happy with him because he was pointing out things that obviously anyone who's new to this product, all of us, to be very fair, because everyone's new to this product, but people who are newer to the indie people, including the 6 women tag match that was all from the women from Far East. He had things where conversations and things about this that were able to stand out and bring in to make you care more about the things that were going on in the match. Now, I can also see where you're coming from, Joe, because while that is refreshing when you don't know what's going on, as AEW
It can
continues,
be a little redundant and like over the top.
If AEW continues to go
if
on,
you do
and
have
he's-
half a clue of what's going on.
and he does continue to go over time, it will then run dry.
Well, he is going to do it for a little while though, because
I'm talking like a year and a half, 2 years down the line.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about after your next Double or Nothing. If this is still going on, maybe even the next All Out.
Well, if they go all out, what are they going to do?
I did catch him on one big mistake though.
What?
Is educate when Kenny did the tope out of the ring on Jericho. When Jericho was holding the table, and they're showing the replay, and Excalibur's like, I want to see it again because it looked like he landed on Jericho's arm, and that's his left arm. You know, Jericho's tattooed arm. He's like, that's the arm that he throws the Judas effect with, and it's not. Like, he threw it with his right arm. You know, It's like, ha! You don't know fucking everything, Excalibur, fucker.
You were
God.
just Excalibur communicated. Nick, what was your takeaway as a negative besides the commentary? I remember you talking about some production issues.
God, now I got to remember.
I thought production was good.
Yeah, it was. I had one issue with the referee in the opening. God, what match was it? The bald guy. He was in
Rick Knox?
Yeah, the first tag match. It was on the pre-show, I think.
The SoCal
That's like the-
Uncensored versus.
That's like the hand
yeah.
the Young Bucks hand-picked referee too.
Yeah, the second match he refereed that night, because he did ref 2 matches, he was fine. The first match, he just kind of seemed like he let things go too easy and was standing back, and I saw him just kind of waving his arms like, I don't know what I'm doing, and he's just kind of watching, and shit's just happening, and like it shouldn't have been. Like he should have had a little more control of the match at that point, and he just was letting him go. You know what I mean? So that was just my opinion on that, but
I did like how before every match it seemed like the commentators like put the referees over, like told you their credentials. He'll call a fair match. He's a 21-year vet. Blah blah blah. Like kind of legitimizing the ref again.
Well, they actually used to do that.
I know that's
Like-
what I mean. Like they're doing it again.
Before wrestling was considered sports entertainment, you know?
Yeah, before the ref lost legitimacy with all the different fucking angles they try and pull with the ref.
Yeah.
Right.
But then again, AEW went and fucking delegitimized these refs as well.
Why, with the discretionary 10 counts and stuff like that?
Yeah, like no, there's a set of rules in the match, and if you're gonna tell me these are what your rules are, and then your ref doesn't follow those rules,
Well, they
then
did
why
point
are these
out
those
that
rules?
the ref has discretion.
It's
Yeah,
stupid.
right. That is the see, and I said that in
That's
the
a
chat.
loophole. It's
stupid.
It's a loophole.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's we're gonna let these guys fight, but next week we might not let a different match go as long outside the ring or whatever. But and I said it in the group chat. I go, I'm already sick of the term the ref's discretion. I get it. You're letting the guys wrestle. You're letting them do more. But if that's the case, instead of doing a thing where basically you tell your audience, yeah, the ref's gonna count to 10, but when he feels like it. Why not just make every match a no count out match? Like count outs do not happen.
Or give it a fucking 20 count like in New Japan.
Yeah, either or. Because even in WWE, right? The count is not 1, 2, 3. In some matches it is because that's the finish. In others it's all right, they've been outside for a while.
like,
1, 2, 3. Oh, somebody distracted me. 1, 2. Right, exactly.
Yeah, you can't, if you're gonna set a standard with the rules that you have going on, then you have to follow those rules and use them and put them in play. The ref has to have, otherwise the ref's just out there for to count to 3, or to disqualify somebody or something like that. It's a pain in the ass, and it's something you can't follow as a fan. If you want to tell me this is a much more sports oriented type production, well, I'm sorry, but the umpires and referees in any of these sports are listened to, and if the fucking and if they're argued with or taken away from, like, look at baseball, man. Baseball, those pitches of strikes and balls, it's starting to come a lot under fire because they're starting to be a little bit over miscalls.
Well, how many balls have you seen called strikes to the MLB, for example?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
And the commentators will be like, oh, it's clearly 8 feet outside the zone, but the ump called it a strike.
Right, and there's a reason that there is now instant replay put into effect for all kinds of things, because there's the human element and the human error element, and that's fine. But if you say a ref has his own discretion, well, then you're setting up really confusing things for your viewer. People who don't know how to follow. Like, I can watch a WWE match, and I know that you have a 5 count to get out of the ring if you're in a tag match. Yes, they said 10, but they didn't adhere to that 10 count as soon as that Bucks match happened. There's a 10 count for the outside of the ring. And yes, that 10 count is very fucking delayed. And I know that the ref is going to count 1, 2, and that's faster than he's going to count it. But I know that the minute you hear 10, someone's out. That's over. It's a disqualification. If the person holding that hold on the ropes gets to the 5 count, DQ'd. If you get to the 10 count on those tag matches and you don't make someone get back in the ring or get out of the ring, whatever it is, you've just now delegitimized that ref, because it no longer matters what these rules are, because these people won't get counted out. These people won't get disqualified, and then you start losing your audience. However, let's be very honest. This is fucking nitpicking, this show.
Sure.
But at the same time, they're gonna have problems, and it's all about ironing it out. This is the first time AEW has put on a pay-per-view. Period. It's the first time. Yes, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, and Cody put on All In, but that wasn't AEW. This had production value. When I walked
that
in
show
there,
had a lot of production help from Ring of Honor too.
when I walked into Double or Nothing, I was like, holy shit, finally, because I waited in line for an hour and a half because of the MGM Grand Garden people. We'll get into that. And then I sat down and I was just looking, I was like, wow, the ring, the lighting, the cameras, seeing everything go around. I was like, this is beautiful, man. This is something that's on par with the top notch of WCW and WWE. All of that had millions of fucking dollars to spend, right? And so it was beautiful and it was wonderful, because you could literally show that show to someone who doesn't know what they're watching, and they'll think it's WWE right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, who are these people? I've never seen these people in WWE. But I mean, you see Chris Jericho, and again, it was beautiful. In the arena, that arena, everyone loved. Everyone was in love. Everyone. The reason Cody and Dustin, man, it put goosebumps on my just watching it. You know, and then the finish put even more goosebumps. Put goosebumps on my goosebumps. You know.
No, that's called herpes.
Shit.
Ew.
I got herpes in Vegas. It did it. Well,
Surprise.
So what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay there?
nope, not
Stays
at all.
on your dick.
I don't want it. It was a beautiful production. Like, I literally was just sitting back going, because when you're there, you don't hear the commentary, you know? So you have time to look around. Like, obviously you're watching the match, but you're just looking and seeing how people are reacting around you as well. And it was just really well put together. I agree with Joe about an 8 out of 10. You know, the way Double or Nothing did everything and then set things up for the future was smart. My match tonight, like I said, was Cody and Dustin, but my moment of the night was MJF, because what they did to help get him over was ingenious. From the buy-in Casino Battle Royal to the promo during the reveal of the AEW World Championship. He was money on the mic. He was really good on the ring. The way he played it out, it was pure heel mode, and that's what you need. Because sure, Jericho's your biggest heel right now. What about 2 years from now when Jericho's not wrestling as much?
When Jericho's too old to wrestle? Is that what you were going to say? No, that'll never happen. He'll be here till he's like Ric Flair's age.
No, that's why I said not wrestling as much. He is not the person that you're going to count on anymore. So you have to build legitimate heels, and you've already started it with the seeds of MJF. So I'm a huge fan of what they did for that kid.
How do you like that, Lieutenant Dan? That shit was hilarious.
Why, Brett? Watch out! It's a fan. So overall, top to bottom, and then Joe, you said you weren't expecting Moxley, but a lot of people before this were thinking Moxley was coming out for that buy-in battle royal. And then he didn't, and Hangman came out and he won. Something that somebody said was going to happen last week, but
Well, I figured if he was
And you
gonna,
still lost.
that would be kind of that would almost be beneath him coming out in the battle royal to me.
yeah.
Moxley, I mean.
No, what would have been beneath him was coming out to the ring in a gas mask or a surgical mask or a hazmat suit.
Turn any noun into a object.
So when Moxley came out, I agree with you. There was an actual shock and surprise, because by that time, you're not thinking anything else. What I have to say about this show is it was perfectly paced. It was
I love the pace of the show. Absolutely loved it.
match to match to match. You were thinking about what was going on at that time in the ring at that moment. You weren't going, oh, what about this match? Like when the Bucks and the Lucha Bros were going on, you were no longer thinking about Cody and Dustin. You were like, Bucks and Lucha Bros, this is fucking sweet.
And they had it like that, though. Like the minute they hit the back, the other match was like starting.
Right. Which, let's be very honest, that's going to change in the future. Right now, they're not real. There's no real storylines and backstage segments to play to get into it. But at the same time, I can still see it moving. It won't be as slow as a fucking WWE pay-per-view, but it's not going to be as fast-paced as that either. I hope what they start doing is what WWE does for the shows where they record for the future. Like Z, when we went to that Monday Night Raw that was recorded for New Year's Eve, it still had its segments and it still had everything going on, but it was nicely paced because there was no commercial fucking breaks to wait through, but it still had everything from the in-ring to the out-ring. It was put together very, very, very well as far as a production. When you go to a Raw or a SmackDown, you sit back and you go, all right, now I'm waiting for the commercial break.
When you're wondering what kills the crowd is they just sat through a fucking 3-minute commercial with the lights off, and then all of a sudden, right before they come back to TV, they turn the wrestler's music back on and act like he's been in the ring the entire fucking time.
Right.
I would like to see WWE turn the lights on during commercial breaks and then it go low again, so you know when stuff is going to happen, because at least then you have a break. But anyway,
well, you know what? Not to cut you off or anything, but I did see an excerpt from an interview with Cody after Double or Nothing. He was talking about who's the owner? I'm sorry, Khan. Yeah. So he was actually Cody said that he was timing the show, and for the first time ever, that was the first show he'd ever timed. Now I'm not really too familiar what that term necessarily means, like in the gorilla position, but he said that he timed it perfectly, and that typically, from what he's used to, is like a senior higher up in WWE doing that for 20 years. Nobody gets a chance to touch that. Not necessarily somebody who this is their first go around, and he just was praising him for that. So to me, that speaks a lot, some volumes to what they've got to come. You know?
What that means is you're making sure that things aren't going over, that we have a set time frame. Like we have a radio sheet for the time frame.
Sure.
Yeah, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10. That's what he was doing. So
All
he
the
was the one.
matches
He was the
and-
person in the
yeah.
ref's ear saying, "Okay, wrap it
Yeah.
up. You got a minute left."
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I agree. The pacing was really, 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 really good. So Moxley comes out. He attacks the fuck out of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, who had a broken nose, that wrestled with a broken nose in that whole fucking match. It's set up for Hangman Page versus Jericho for the first ever AEW World Championship. Moxley looks like he's going to be going after Kenny Omega as far as when all the TV and stuff is coming on. MJF looks like he's going to have a feud with possibly Jungle Boy at first before he moves on up to maybe a main event in a year or two time. With all of the things that they set up at Double or Nothing, Z, what is one thing that you're really excited about for the future coming to TV for AEW? Storyline wise, wrestler wise, things like that.
I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm just excited to see what they do. So to say, now more so than ever, because this is going back to Double or Nothing for a minute. From start to finish, I was invested in that entire pay-per-view. And me not knowing, most of the lower card, because I knew who everyone was in the 3 main event matches or whatever. But before that, I know this person, I know that person, but it's few and far between. And I was invested the entire time, and they kept me invested. That was the big thing. I didn't know who any of these people were, but I watched every second of that show because those performers kept me invested in every match. So I'd like to see what storylines they put together. Not sure. I don't really have one off the top of my head because, again, outside of Jericho, Dustin, Cody, Kenny, Page, I really don't know anybody else to know what kind of storylines they could possibly put together. But I am willing to.
Well, I'm saying with the things that they set up in the show, obviously Moxley versus Kenny has been set up, Jericho versus Hangman's been set up.
Right, but as far as the rest of them, who
The Bucks versus Cody and Dustin.
That's that
that's
Fighter
only at
Fest.
that Fighter Fest, though. That's
I don't
not
know if that's going to be a long term thing.
unless it ends up being for the first ever AEW Tag Champ.
Yeah, which that.
Because I'm assuming by the time they go to TV in September, or is it September? October. By the time they go to TV in October, they're going to at least have a tag title and a women's title.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just an assumption.
Yeah, which will be set up. Joe, for you, the future for AEW, what is things that you're looking really forward to, or you're really looking forward to?
I want to see what more they add to the tag division besides just the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. I know that kind of unknown team came in after with
the Smash Brothers that they just
with all the mask people.
They didn't call them the Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
but they got the best friends.
Yeah, I just want to see. I want to see how much of a level of importance they put on that, because we know in WWE in the past decade or so, they'll tease for a minute that the tag team division is about to get a push, and then they just, it goes right back down the card, and they don't do anything with it. So with one of the best tag teams, arguably in the world, in the office as EVPs, I want to see what they do with what potentially could be a real tag team division.
All right, Nick.
I'm excited to see more organic and straight from the heart promos.
Mm-hmm.
You said organic.
So
that's how he's eating now during this weight loss challenge.
That's right. I went vegan. No, I didn't. No. Especially
You're
after
the planet's champion now.
just had kale and. After hearing some of that podcast with Moxley and him talking about the scripted, promos and things like that, I knew that was there, but when you hear it really coming out of the horse's mouth, it really kind of puts it into perspective as a fan who's trying to become more than just that casual fan. Mm-hmm. And that MJF promo, I was like, fuck yeah, this is great.
Calling him a horse and everything.
Him.
You know we
This
do
is
with
him
horse with a
fucking
wounded
talking.
leg.
You know, and then that video after when you see Moxley standing on the chips and he's flicking out the crowd and he's pointing to his middle finger, like, that's right, I can finally fucking do something like this. And yeah, it's a middle finger and okay, big deal, but
There's a lot of middle fingers.
yeah, it's great to see stuff like that. So
It's great to see the middle
you know,
finger again.
Yeah,
Missed it.
I did. It's been a while.
Austin 316.
I haven't been fingered in a while.
Same. I'm also looking a lot more forward to the storylines and how they're going to progress. I will say that there were a lot of questions asked. They ended up doing a media scrum with performers to
Is that like a
media.
rugby scrum? Did they all like
No,
huddle
like
for
so.
the
You know
ball?
how after a football game, baseball game, they open the locker room doors to the media, and the media is able to go in and talk to the performers. They did the exact same thing. Tony Khan, Cody. There were many people that were spoken to. Cody said, and he revealed that the TNT show is going to be a 2-hour show.
Good.
That and at the same time that TV, because someone asked about the middle fingers, they were like, "Is this what we're supposed to look forward to?" And he goes, "No, think of the TV as a more scaled back version of the pay-per-views. Obviously, the pay-per-views we're going to go a little bit harder because it's going to be pay-per-view, but we want to have something for the casual fan, the family fan. We're not just going to be throwing this out like that." So what I'm thinking is that they're obviously we all want more real type storylines, and that's going to come from the performers. It's not going to become coming from things that they're letting them do, not letting them do. It's going to be a much more real type feel because these guys who are talking about, they're going to be given bullet points for sure. Especially if some of these promos need to push stuff on, but it doesn't mean that these promos are written for you. So I'm excited about that. Tony Khan had some comments about the future of the product as well. And that, sorry, I knocked over the camera. And he said the same thing, that it's starting up in October, 2-hour time frame for the show, and the shows are going to lead into the future. And they're very happy that they have Jericho there to help with the weekly timings, which was then said again if you listen to that Talk is Jericho podcast that Mox and Chris were just like, we've done weekly TV. We know certain camera things, setups, and stuff like that. But that's then where my real criticism from being out in Vegas comes from. And like during the show, like when I go to a WWE show, you know how they have that rolling crane camera. If you've ever been to a live event, it moves, but it moves, and then at the same time when it's not being used, it gets pushed.
It's like the one they do to pan in.
Yeah. But it gets pushed to that one back corner by where the announcers are, and it's down and it's out of the way. This one was in my fucking way the whole time. Every time it wasn't being used, it was just up.
Is that why your tickets were so cheap?
No, my tickets were free.
He let Daniel touch his butt.
I
Look
did,
what
Daniel.
fucking happened.
Goddamn right. No.
By the way, Daniel, you can touch my butt if you want to buy me a ticket to All In.
No, it was actually nobody bought me a ticket there. Just happened to be a group that Daniel knew that ended up having an extra ticket. So I was literally about to buy
You
it.
guys ended up having another extra ticket right before showtime. Right?
Yeah, and then his brother-in-law gave it to his friend.
Almost flew to Vegas.
I flew out there and you guys wouldn't pick up the fucking phone.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I was sitting right next to Nick on the airplane. You didn't see me from that picture?
No.
Oh.
His thumb was in the fucking picture. How do you not see that?
Well, because I thought it was up your butt, but I guess I was wrong. So, AEW moving forward, I have a lot of expectations and a lot of great things to expect with this. Let's go into what I think with the championship. I don't think Hangman's touching that title right away. I think.
Would be dumb.
I agree. I think the smartest thing in the world is the first ever AEW champion needs to be Chris Jericho.
Needs to be a big name. Yep.
Needs to be Chris Jericho.
I don't think so.
Who do you think is going to?
I think it should be Adam Page. I think if you want to truly prove that you are different from WWE, you give it to Hangman Page. Obviously after a war with Jericho. But I don't really see the payoff. Now, granted, Jericho's a big name. Jericho's number 2 on my all-time list. I think he's the GOAT, always in the conversation. But I don't think... I think making him champion is almost like putting Cena over at this point in his career. But like, I just think it hurts. It makes it. You bring in this top name and you just give him the title. You know what I mean? Whereas like Hangman Page, that could be your young superstar. He could win it, and then maybe get screwed over like a week later, and then he continues chasing. But I think he needs to hold the title first. And that's just my personal opinion, and that's what I'd like to see.
Joe, what do you think?
I mean, he did kind of Babe Ruth call his shot, was saying at the press conference that he wanted to be and make it a point to be known that he wanted to be the first ever AEW champion.
Who said that?
Adam Page.
Okay.
So, I mean, those are strong words to say and then not come through is all I'm thinking. And I think I'm gonna agree with Z a little bit on this one. Jericho doesn't need this. Just Jericho being there is going to put a lot of eyes on the company, whether he has a title or not. I don't think it's going to change the amount of eyes they're going to be looking at the product. But Adam Page is going to be there for a lot longer than Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho's, no offense, I love him, but his best years are behind him. Adam Page's best years are in front of him.
Nick?
I can see that, but I do think that they might go the route of Jericho, only because for right now, their build-up going into TV in the fall, it's not like they're having weekly shows. I mean, Jericho's going to wrestle, twice before TV starts with the belt if he's crowned champion?
No, I'm thinking that belt's coming out at All Out.
Him and Moxley are also both booked for matches in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So then, once you hit TV, I could see Paige winning it the first week or two, maybe the first week, to really kind of blow it up and have that unexpected moment for the first. And then you can just, run with it. But then you had Jericho with that build-up. I could see it go either way. I just think it'll be Jericho.
I mean, if you have Paige win it, right, then you can have Brock come in and cash in the Money in the Bank. Boombox.
I hope you're right.
Money in the Bank boombox.
Brock party, baby. The reason I say Jericho first, and it's not, I agree, Jericho doesn't need it, but I think AEW needs it. I think that anyone who hears Chris Jericho is wrestling for a company, some might tune in.
I'm tuning in either way.
Right.
But I mean, I'm also a huge mark for Jericho.
Right. So then you have the other people that are going, oh, yeah, Jericho went to this other company. I'll check it out if I get a chance to check it out. It's kind of like my thought process on Brock holding that box, the briefcase, until the first Fox show and then cashing it in on the first SmackDown on Fox. It's a huge ratings grab. It's a big thing. It's something to pop the show off. Jericho winning that title at All Out, and that's speculation for All Out, because they haven't announced anything. That's 100% speculation.
I thought it was that Fight for the Fallen.
They've not announced anything.
The only thing they've announced is the Bucks versus Dustin and Cody,
right?
Oh no, that's at Fyter Fest.
Yeah, and again, I also agree that if they have that match at Fight for the Fallen, stupid have Paige take it. Really stupid, because then you don't even have anything that's putting Paige over outside being the Elite, the web show, and that's only, I mean, that's getting like 100,000 views, but it's not a weekly television deal where people are able to see on a much larger scale. Fucking Hangman has 5 minutes in a 20-minute show, rather than being touted as a champion on 2 weeks of television. I want to use that pen later, right? Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So Jericho as your first AEW champion, I think brings in more viewers.
Well, and it goes, I guess you're right, because then it goes right along with his whole heel stick right now, where they didn't even tell me thank you. I'm the reason they got this TV deal, and then he becomes the champion just to add fuel to the fire. I mean, yeah.
And I think Jericho should hold that belt for a couple months. I think it needs to have a decent run, not a great run. You know what I'm saying? Not like, man, he went to fucking February. No, I think Jericho maybe towards the beginning of the year, end of the year, beginning of the year, next year, then Jericho could drop it. And I think the next person who should have it is Adam Page, because then Jericho has established that title belt with his name, and then he puts over Adam Page as well in another great match. Like, I'm not even saying he should pin him perfectly.
Hold on. Now, this is where this comes into play. You think Adam Page should hold it after, but then Adam Page is going to have a loss on his record if they're counting wins and losses. So if there's somebody with a better record than Adam Page, technically speaking, they should get the title opportunity over Adam Page.
If that's the case.
I mean, I'm just saying they put such an emphasis on counting wins and losses.
Wins and losses being
so. If you
him.
give Page the loss, then it kind of knocks him down a peg.
True, but at the same time, if you give Page the loss through some fucking disturbing tactics,
But a loss is still a loss on paper.
Hey man,
I'm just saying.
I understand, but we don't know what this win-loss mattering thing is gonna mean. You know, is one loss in this match gonna matter a lot? You know, Jericho's the only one who has an actual match win. Hangman won a battle royal. You know, he hasn't won a singles match yet. You know, we don't know what it's looking like. Hangman could go in there. He could have a match at Fight for the Fallen, Fighter Fest, and All Out. If you know, and he could be 2-1, and Jericho be 2-0. And we don't know what they're doing with that. I mean, that really, I agree with you. That it confuses things because you don't know what they're going to do until TV. You know, and when they start settling everything in. But I think Jericho needs to have that belt first. I don't even think that putting it on Page right away is a smart idea, just because it's not known. And the first thing that you want to do is bring more eyes to the company. It's just like if Cody versus Hangman Page, I would say Cody should take it. You know, but let's go into that because I made a reference in our chat. Maybe it was just a Z. That there were a lot of executive vice presidents going over in Double or Nothing.
Wow.
The entire elite besides Kenny won.
Yep.
Hangman won the Casino Battle Royal. Cody beat Dustin. Young Bucks went over on the Lucha Brothers.
The only thing I didn't agree with is I didn't think that the Young Bucks should have won over on the Lucha Brothers. Cody going over on Dustin made sense.
I can understand that. I agree with that.
Page winning the Battle Royal. I mean, in all reality, right? It was either
That's a smart.
It was either going to be him, Janela, or
MJF, and I am agreeing with both of those. I think Page should have went over. I agree that Cody should have went over. I don't think the Bucks should have won.
Nope.
Because
even if you did like a DQ finish at that point,
there you go. That's exactly. I'm not saying they should have dropped the titles because they're having another match in AAA in a couple months or something.
Or
like
you
that
know
for
what?
those titles.
Have them wrestle for that 60-minute. Have time expire. Like you wrestle
There
to
you
a
go.
draw.
Yeah.
So then your next match has no time limit.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. There's ways to get out of having the Bucks go over.
Well, especially when you have your normal ways, your DQ, your count out by the ref's discretion, so the 45-second count. But then you also have the out of they've actually put time limits back on matches with a 30-minute time limit, with a 60-minute time limit, et cetera, et cetera. So now you gave yourself another out on how to end a match.
I agree.
That was it.
No, I'm not arguing that because it was one of my big problems with this. It was going into this was going off of All In, and at All In they booked themselves to win everything.
And I mean, Kenny didn't go over, and
No.
and Kenny lost clean.
Yes,
I guess you know. So I mean, there's that. But even going into that, I was like, Jericho kind of has to win this if they're, especially with Page winning earlier in the night. They're not going to do. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I'm agreeing 100% with you because that's what I said. I said the problem with All In was all of the big guys went over. They're the ones booking the show. And they're putting themselves over. And that was the major problem towards the end of WCW is a lot of people got frustrated and left WCW because the boys were putting themselves over. And then they got into the TV type of stuff and the TV stations were telling them to do things. And it was just a downward spiral from there. So I when I left this, I was concerned, still concerned, not as much concerned because God, the product was beautiful, you know, but my thought process was just like you said, Z, the Bucks are the ones that should have lost. I honestly feel that even if it was a draw, you know what I'm saying? They didn't go over on the other team, you know, and I just feel like you're looking at this going, all right, let's just hope this doesn't continue. And it just adds more fuel to my questions.
And you could have had them lose because they even put it over during the match that they had. This was only their second match of the year, whereas Pentagon and Phoenix had wrestled 49 so far.
Like the night before.
Yeah. So, like, even with that stat, like, okay, you could easily put the Lucha Brothers over, even if it's by a clean win.
No, they wouldn't have. They should not have gone over by a direct win. For the simple fact that the AAA tag team titles weren't going to change hands outside of a AAA promotion.
Okay.
So that's the only reason I'm saying that there's
Okay. I
disqualification.
mean, you could always do like
yeah.
a dusty finish at this point, though. Like they win, and then it wasn't really a win. And what better way to have a Rhodes pay-per-view than have a dusty finish?
Nick, were you concerned at all about all the majority of the 3 out of the 4 EVPs going over?
A little, but very little, only because I don't have as much invested in those guys as you guys do. So, like, I look at it a little bit differently. So, yeah, okay, it's kind of like, the Shanes and Triple H and the Vinces of the world winning matches.
And the Triple H's.
So, but, like, I'm also kind of like, I think it would be a bigger problem if this were 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and there's still all the EVPs are still going over in situations such as this. But for that opening show, I don't mind it. But again, like I said, it's only because I don't have as much vested like you guys do. You guys know a ton about, the Bucks and Page and this and that. This is my second or third match actually seeing these guys. So
I will say this: I'm not upset that they went over. I just think, in my mind, it's drawing a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like I see a pattern from All In to All In Double or Nothing to, and we'll see going forward.
Yeah.
First show of AEW, second show you've ever put on. Like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think they need to nip it in the bud real quick, though.
Yeah, along with that ref's discretion bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask a question before we move on to the Jon Moxley Talk is Jericho. Obviously, we watched this. Is there any one person, Nick, for you that you're excited for that this pay-per-view put on the map for you? Something that you had not watched before that you're like, man, I can't wait to see what they do in the future now.
I am excited to see Hangman Page because I've heard really good things about him. And, I think from what I saw, the brief instances of what I saw in the casino, the Battle Royale or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see what MJF's going to do because, again, I think that promo that he cut and everything about him that night was, top notch. And I'll say Kenny Omega only because, again, I don't have a lot of experience watching him. I think that fight with Jericho was great. I like the way he wrestles. I've only seen a few of his fights, so I'm excited to see more of guys like that, that are put in my face a little more. It's a little more accessible for me to actually watch it,
Okay. Joe, is there anyone on this card that when you were like, man, I'm really glad that they're on this and I can't wait to see what they do here?
Well, most of the being the elite guys, I am interested in seeing what those guys. I mean, because other than being the elite, they're not used to being featured on a weekly basis on like a 2-hour show. I'm wondering. I want to see if these guys can still keep their steam and keep their popularity and keep that like level of coolness they have, almost like an underground band,
Mm-hmm.
If they can keep that momentum going, when they've been on TV every week for a year, if there still be, as special to some of the people that are craving the alternative that are right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see if they got longevity, I guess, in the American weekly TV system.
Which makes sense because it's something that's they
Because
don't.
New Japan does not have weekly television.
Not at all.
Ring of Honor did, but their format is much different. It's pre-taped much farther in advance, and not everybody makes it on TV every week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different.
So Z, when you were watching this, I know you said that you don't really a lot of the names and stuff like that didn't stand out to you, but is there something that you're definitely excited for the future about?
That real cute Asian girl that was on there in the red tights. But beyond that, MJF, I'm interested to see where he goes. Although he reminds me of like a different version of the Miz's character. So we'll see how he evolves as a character from that. I really like the tag match between the Bucks and Lucha Brothers. Like, I can't wait to see more of that, and I hope they really do revitalize tag team wrestling as a whole across the board for pro wrestling. I mean, there's just so many things I could name that I'm excited for, and we'll see how it all pans out.
Nice.
It gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah.
For once, it gives me hope. It's like, what was it? What was the fifth movie? A New Hope? Oh no, that was the fourth one. A New Hope.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
This is our Star Wars.
I want to see how their working relationships with other companies continue moving forward, because they've got the Lucha Brothers signed, who also work a lot for AAA. They've got Jericho and Mox signed, who we've already mentioned. They've got bookings in Japan, and a lot of their other guys are doing, work elsewhere, other companies. I just want to see how that flourishes over time as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So AEW's Double or Nothing is over. Their TV show is coming up in October. More things are going to be happening, then more pay-per-views. All Out is happening in Chicago. They announced it August 31st. Tickets are going on sale June 14th, 2019. Actually, as we're recording this, the StarCast 3 bracelets have already gone on sale. So you can buy a StarCast 3 bracelet weeks before you can buy a ticket to All Out, which would suck.
And they just announced StarCast 3 like 4 days ago.
Yeah, at the after party is when it was announced. So let's move on. Let's have a conversation about the one, the only. Oh, thanks, Callie. Callie's giving us all the hearts. Let's have a conversation about the newest Talk is Jericho. Jon Moxley was on it. They recorded a couple days before Double or Nothing happened, and he vented about WWE quite a bit. At the same time, though, he definitely let it off praising some of WWE. He said, here's a quote, needless to say, the last 8 years couldn't have been any more successful, and I'm full of gratitude to WWE for that. And then he went, so now that that's done, let's go ahead and bury the company.
For the rest of this episode.
Things that he stated. He said that Brock's paid millions to ruin the company. He goes, if there was no other promotion, he would have still left. He goes, creative sucks, and Vince is the problem. He goes, if he only got $500 for that last Shield special. $500. He said, that is what extras get. If you go to the show and you're not even used as a performer, you're given $500.
I was listening to that while I was working. I was like, wow.
And they gave him a $500 check that he hasn't cashed yet. And he thinks he should frame it.
He should.
And he said,
fucked up.
He sounds like, throughout the interview though, like it sounds like he left the company on the most professional terms I've ever heard of. Just because he was like, all right, you want to give me shit? I'm just going to ride it out. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'm going to give you my idea first. You don't like it. I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. So, yeah, I mean, he's kind of burying the company. I mean, I'm only through about 40 minutes of it.
Okay.
So I don't know how much, more.
Oh, he buries the fuck out of him. But you're right. He did leave in the most professional manner possibly.
Yeah.
And he says in it, the reason he did that is because
his wife still works there and his friends work there.
He didn't want to make it difficult for his wife,
but
and
he
wanted
said
those
that's
royalty
not
checks.
who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Well, he wants the royalty checks, but he's like, that's not how I do business. Like, all right.
But he would have left if he had to. He said that.
Oh, yeah, he was ready to walk out. He talks about it.
No. Even besides the day he walked out, he said if anything would have happened even after that because the day he said he was ready to walk out was the day that we were all talking about. I specifically remember coming in here and talking about when he got that shot in his ass. We're like, what the fuck is this? And he said it. That was the final straw for him. The other thing.
That was the prick that.
Yep. So he said going there every Monday made him sick. And yes, he goes, he wants to prove, if anything comes out from him being in AEW, it says he wants to prove that WWE's creative process sucks, and he thinks Vince's structure is the problem. And then he said something that I was like, holy fuck on. After Vince bought WCW in 2002, Moxley said that's when Vince started putting a structure around him that is how the entire creative thing works. And Joe shot a message into the chat, and he would go, see, I told you everything was overproduced and overstuffed, and we were having an argument about it. And my argument was, but it's Vince. It's always Vince. And that's what this basically stated.
No, you remember, I remember you said on the air, like, that you said you did not think that the product was micromanaged and overproduced, and
No, I don't.
I thought you were crazy for thinking that.
I still don't. I think it's Vince is the problem. And I understand all of these people in a huge company with all of these things. I also understand that a lot of these guys could do their own shit and their own fucking storytelling, their own fucking matches. I also know that. But there has to be checks and balances when you're a publicly traded company. So I get all of that. But at the same time, and that's why now he said he was micromanaged more out of anything in the last couple weeks. And then again, you kind of get that too, because business wise, you want to make sure this dude doesn't just bury you while he's there, even though you're trying to bury him. And you'll get to that part with the whole Nia Jax thing. But I did say I agree with you that Vince is the fucking problem. And I've always said it. And we're hoping that Vince leaves for this XFL thing. But I agree 100%, no argument at all. And he even said it. He goes,
when you got two guys that were working on top within the past 10 to 20 years, talking about Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose, and they're both saying like how much better they feel now and how just frustrating it is to be working under the WWE system and have every little aspect of every little thing you do with your character to be completely micromanaged, and Vince has to put his hands
in everything,
on everything, and how is a very eye-opening podcast. It basically confirmed most of what I've been saying on the air for years on this show, and maybe not everyone agreed with me, but I felt strongly on my opinion, and these two guys kind of confirmed it today.
Yeah, quite a few of your
the
opinions. I agree
podcast.
with you, 100% with you. A lot of the things that you had stated were very much validated from this podcast, and it's true, man. Like,
and as frustrating as it is as a fan, when you're watching the people that you're a fan of and you know that they're going through this, and then to hear them like literally confirm it, how frustrating could it be for them?
Right.
You know, if you're frustrated watching them as a fan, it's got to be making them like literally fucking bang their heads against the fucking wall.
When he talked about making it a point that Roman is my friend, and then all of a sudden you're told to go rip on make that cancer comment.
I thought that was lowbrow when he said that.
Yeah,
you know, I was like, I
did
can't believe
too.
they went there.
Yeah.
All right, so I thought that was like something that him and Roman came up with, like, oh hey, like I'm supposed to be heel, like, can I say this? Yeah, go ahead. It'll get you heat, blah blah. I didn't know Vince is the one that wrote it.
Oh man, I don't know.
And then there was the other one that Mox said he wasn't going to say on air. Vince gave him another thing
Something
to
about
say.
a pooper scooper.
No. Another cancer thing. And,
this was after.
And Mox said that he went to Vince and he was like, I can't say this. If I say this, you could lose sponsors. You could lose the Susan G. Coleman thing that you have going on.
Oh.
And he literally stated that. He goes, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to say on air what they wanted me to say, but Jericho, I'll tell you once the recording process is done. Like, that's fucking nuts that you would even remotely think it's okay to go that far into a cancer thing. Like Mox said, the minute he said that first thing about Roman's cancer, he was like, I can't fucking believe I said that.
Yeah, that's the part I'm at, because he talks about, oh, this could be the thing that I never come back from. Like, there's a lot of goofy shit you give me, but if I say this could be the thing that I couldn't.
And that's the part that I'm talking about, yeah.
Which brings me to my next point.
Well, that right there, don't mean to cut you off, that confirms what you were saying before, that you think that it was possible that the Roman cancer thing could be a work.
That's where I was going.
No,
with this.
sorry.
No, you're good. This is exactly where I was going.
Oh, man.
So you're saying that Vince wouldn't have had him try to say this if Roman actually had cancer?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, I pulled that from you.
No, you're good. You're good. Great minds.
Another thing he said is that he knew in July of 2018 is when he was leaving.
It's like right after he came back.
Yep. And
I gotta go.
Yep. And he said that the final time that he spoke to Vince is when he let everything out, and he said it. He goes, he told him the creative and everything sucked. He told him everything that he thought needs to be changed, so on and so forth. He said, WWE's a prison, all the scripted promos. Vince is out of touch. There was just so much. And then, somebody actually pointed this out, and I retweeted it on at BDRcast at Twitter. It was from actually full beard nerd. He goes, remember when Dean got shit for that Stone Cold podcast interview? Go listen to Moxley on Talk is Jericho. Literally a whole new person.
Uh-huh.
And Dean said it himself. He goes,
he's so calm on Jericho.
Yeah.
It's on you. I mean, for first couple seconds, I was like, is that really Dean Ambrose?
Right.
So.
And no, it's not. It's John
John
motherfucking Moxley, bitch. Right. But when he was on that Stone Cold podcast, remember, we were all like, man, he just seems out of it. Like, he doesn't want to, he just seems shy. And even Stone Cold's like, you got a lot of fire on your ass, son. And it was gone. He said that he fought when the Shield run was done, that he got himself over. He interjected a one-liner, and he goes, don't let him do that because they don't know you have comedic timing, and they're going to fucking give you jokes to tell now. And he said that they watered down his face run, and that's why a lot of that stuff. So I remember the fucking Ambrose-Brock match. We were all like, oh, that was a really bad Brock match. And it's...
He blamed it on Brock. The whole match.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't remember that he did say that on Stone Cold's podcast.
He blamed it on Brock's unwillingness to
try Dean's ideas, and then just being flat out lazy and not putting any prep into the match at all.
Well, then I wouldn't have done it either on my end. I get it, man. Everything about this was incredible to listen to. It's very eye-opening. Of a podcast, of an interview, of a person who's coming from an entertainment company that he says almost stole his love of what it was. He said when he was trying to come back, he was like, I got this idea and I'll come back with this. No, they're not going to go for that. Oh, how about this? No, they're not going to go for that. And then he started hating the idea of going back even before he was back.
And it's also very like when he said about, when you're spending all day long and all of your creative energy trying to go back and forth between the writers and Vince to get a fucking pooper scooper line removed, when you could be spending that time on developing your storyline further or working on a real promo or thinking about your character. But no, you're exhausting yourself trying to make yourself, like you said, self-preservation, not look like a complete fucking idiot on national TV. Mm-hmm. That was also very eye-opening. Like, man, these guys are fucking drained.
Yeah.
Just trying to save their own careers.
And he's specifically stated, he said, I don't blame any of the boys. It's not the boys.
No,
the boys didn't do it.
We've always said the roster is not the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roster hands
when
down.
When they said they were gonna change everything and they didn't change a fucking thing. You're gonna say new faces. Like, dude, your faces are not the problem. You're the fucking problem. Like, you have a roster that's wonderful, full of high-level talent, hungry young talent that are willing to work their asses off for this business, and you just fucking ruin it all with your stupid-ass, childish fucking lunatic fucking booking.
I love your anger rants, I gotta tell you.
But
tell me I'm wrong, though.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That podcast literally confirmed almost word for word shit that I've been saying for like 3 fucking years. But not by talking to anyone, just by my own observations of watching their shit product and watching it decline week by week by week. It gets worse and worse and worse. And now everything that I myself was suspicious of has been confirmed.
So, Joe, are you in the agreement that Vince is the problem?
Dude, I've been saying that for fucking since before we started the show.
All right, but Joe, would you say that that Vince is the problem?
Yeah. I've been saying that for probably a fucking decade.
Do you think anything will change if Vince stays?
No.
Nothing's going to change until Vince dies, and I hate to say that.
No, I've been saying that too for years.
I don't want the man to
any
die,
new
but
talent coming up, man. Go to New Japan, go to AEW, go to Ring. Stay the fuck away from WWE till Vince fucking dies. Seriously, because he's gonna fuck you up.
Nick, for much as what you listen to, what are your takeaways? Anything surprising to you that makes you reevaluate your thoughts on the WWE product?
No, nothing really surprising. I've definitely gotten the impression over the last few years, learning more and more about it, that Vince definitely is the problem. And again, like Joe said, he fucking confirmed it. And I'm sure he's not the only guy that will sit there and tell you, well, I they gave me this script, and I kind of tried to make some changes to it, and put
read
apart my
any one of
ideas
Jericho's books.
Yeah, and
He
it
talks
wasn't
about
just
shit.
it wasn't just Mox confirming it. Jericho was
Yeah,
confirming
he was
what
backing
Mox
him
was
up.
saying and adding his own points on why
Yep.
Vince is a fucking raving lunatic.
Yeah, he's like that angry boss that oh man, look at this idea. It's really awesome. Cool, but I'm going to do it my fucking way, which fucking sucks.
So I'm going to need those TPS reports.
You forgot your fucking cover sheet.
I'll make fun of that cancer patient, too.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it was bad. It was definitely...
That smell! Oh, that smell!
Now I can hear it, though. Like, literally.
You can, dude.
Like when he was like, yeah, Vince wrote it, I was like, oh, yeah, I can hear it.
Then he said Vince gave him his Jedi mind trick where he was like, "You're gonna love it, pal. It's so you. It's good shit. It's good shit. It's so. Oh my god. It's because you have just so much creative freedom."
One of my uncles has that manipulative speaking power that I wish I had. I don't have it, but it's a very powerful tool. I wish I had it.
Damn you, non-powerful speaking.
I know it's something I must learn now. I must go to Jedi training and learn the Jedi mind trick.
Right. So let's. I know we don't want to, but we're gonna
transition.
We're gonna glance over the things that happened on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live.
I'm gonna need another beer for all this.
No, when I say quickly, I mean fucking quickly.
Maybe I'll make it a shot then.
Nick, you pointed out to me first, man. 40 minutes at one point. You said it's 40 minutes before.
No, I said 46 minutes.
Yeah, we were still waiting for that first fucking match.
46 minutes in. And 52 minutes in, we got that squash match of Shane McMahon defeating Lance NOI.
During that time, I think we saw 3 commercial breaks and garbage and some more garbage and yeah. And somebody made a comment on a message board I saw. Well, they used to do that before. There'd be a half hour because of storyline buildup and promos and whatever. That's fine. I don't care if there's not a match to open the show. But dude, almost an hour. Get fucked.
Yeah, the entire fucking first, outside of 10 minutes, that entire first hour had 0 matches.
Yep.
It's like a couple weeks ago when they had like 3 different talk shows on one episode of Raw. They had like, a moment of bliss, like a KO show and something else. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, they opened the show. They did the Triple H Randy Orton promo.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had Shane McMahon come out. But then they had Shane McMahon go back to the back and then come back out again.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Shane cut a promo. And then they went to commercial. And then after the commercial, Lance Anoa'i was in the ring and whatever. They cut a little promo then. And then finally, the match started.
Right. And then Roman came out to save him.
Brock came out there dancing and playing stupid. I got a
Again. Yep. And yeah,
I honestly though, like I take that as a highlight because I did find I found that funny because he was like, yeah, dance around with his boombox, whatever. That's gonna get old really fucking quick. I like it for the time being, but I can see it getting really.
It did make me chuckle.
Yeah.
Really annoying really quickly. But the one thing I did like is he's like, what? I have a year, and he starts smacking Heyman with the fucking contract. Like that was great. Like he's just like, I have a fucking year, and he's like, yeah, good luck, boys. I'm not telling you when I'm doing this. I have a year.
Didn't
that was a little weird to me though?
That he didn't know what the fuck the Money in the Bank
Yeah,
contract
is that
Brock's
just like
never there. How is he
that
supposed
just to
to
like
know?
shine a light on like Brock the character not giving a fuck about the company or the people?
Yes.
I thought it made him look stupid.
Or that he doesn't care, that he's above all that. But I don't know why he would get mad at Heyman. Like, I mean, it was funny when he was slapping him with the paper and stuff, but like, why? Like, what? I got a year, and he's like, I don't get that. Like,
It does make sense that he didn't know, though, because that's what he has Heyman for. Heyman takes care of. I mean, in the character side of things, like Brock's too big to pay attention to what the Money in the Bank contract is, so he never did.
It doesn't make sense. He's slapping at the paper like, I got a year. You didn't tell me. And then Heyman's like, you got to make a decision. Like, no, he doesn't.
And that's what
He
that's
doesn't
why,
have to make a decision at all.
That's why Brock grabbed the mic and was like, I have a year. Yeah, good luck, boys. And like dropped it and walked away.
But why would Heyman be like fuming? Like, you got to make a decision. No, it just makes it's bad writing.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like Paul was telling him something, and he was just going with what Paul was saying. But at the same time, dude, I'm sorry. Brock's been in that company, even with his hiatus. That Money in the Bank thing has been going. Was he? No, he wasn't in Money in the Bank match before that.
He got cashed in on though, so he should have known.
Yeah,
Yeah, no shit. Good call.
and that's my problem with it. Is it's making him look like a fucking moron.
like Mock said on the fucking podcast. What? So I'm a fucking idiot then? So this is what an idiot would do.
Yeah. And that's exactly how the fuck he came off.
But Brock's also making way more than John Moxley.
More than $500 a day, that's for sure.
Well, no, I'm just saying he's making way more. So if they want me to look like an idiot for a couple $1 million, not a fucking problem.
Cody on Facebook said that he feels Raw is becoming more of a talk show than a wrestling show.
Well, they had 3 talk shows on one show, so
Yeah.
I can see where he's coming from.
Hold on. So let's talk about how we can't have the word war on TV.
But
we could have a fucking electric chair in the middle of the ring.
But the Ember Moon, they call her the
war
goddess of war or the Empress of war or something.
We've already argued this.
I know, but it's so dumb still.
But
though.
you
the
put
dumbness is still there. Like,
But you put
it hasn't gone away.
You put an actual. I mean, not
Electric
actual,
chair.
but a real looking electric chair.
And what the fuck was the point of that anyway? Like,
So Seth could
you
throw it
sit.
out of
That's
the
the
ring and
you
break it.
sit in the electric chair while the fans ask you retarded questions.
So okay, before we go, let's not conversate on that at all. But let's talk about the one thing that happened which is the only other thing I was going to talk about for between Raw and SmackDown, and that was the fact that Sami Zayn said, "You could have asked me about anything. You could have asked me about AEW." I was like, "Oh."
And then you read all these things like, oh, Vince told him to say that. Oh, no, Vince didn't. Vince was pissed. And it's like,
There's a bunch of conflicting reports.
Yeah.
And one of the reports are saying that before it was put in the writers are, and then it was actually everything that fucking Mox said is when this all hit. It was like in the original scripts for it, AEW was in there and everyone was okay with it. And then by the time the higher ups got the script, AEW was out of it. So Sammy was going by the original script and said AEW. Therefore, while it's confirmed that it was supposed to be said, at the same time it was taken out. So
that sounds so WWE-ish.
right, and then you're just sitting there going, yeah, Mox literally just fucking said all of this stuff on fucking days later. What do you think, Nick? Like, when you were listening to that, when it was said, were you like, holy shit, I can't believe they said AEW, or like, oh, that should have been in there?
I wasn't like, holy shit, only because I already knew that he said it.
Oh, you didn't watch it live?
No, I didn't watch that live. I ended up watching that part the next night. I don't know. It felt
Well, okay. Well, then
it
how about
scripted.
you? So you felt like he was told to say that?
Yeah, whether or not somebody like Vince told him to say it, or he knew he was going to say it at some point, it didn't feel like it just kind of came out.
Z, what are you thinking about that? Was it scripted, or did you say that?
I
off the cuff?
think since Sami Zayn has been back, Vince is writing him a script of everything Vince wants to say, and he's just letting Sammy say it. So I mean, I don't.
Well, I guess
unless
in a way he
Sammy's like
is.
honestly trying to get released, there's just things you don't do. You might break script, but you don't break script and say the rival company's name and not get reprimanded for it. So
I could see that being like lost in translation somewhere where it was part of an original script and then
right. In which case,
and then it
it's
was
not-
redacted and it didn't get back to someone, you know?
Well, in that case, it's not Sammy's fault, so there should be no repercussions. But if he clearly went off script, like there's going to be repercussions. And If not, then my theory is right, and Vince just literally writes what he wants to say to the crowd but can't. So he has Sammy do it, and Sammy gets all this heat from it.
You know what I was thinking about that when listening to that Mox interview? When Mox was saying like how when he got all the shit off his chest to Vince, like he's like, every Monday I wake up and I'm like fucking physically ill, and he, you know, and it's because of having to come here and deal with this shit. But then it took me back to when Sammy was making one of his first supposedly Vince written and he said that like thinking about his return made him physically ill. And he said, but it wasn't the work environment, it wasn't his co-workers, it wasn't the McMahons, it was the people. I'm wondering if like Vince is like, it's not me, it's you. You know, like when he, like turning the whole like. I wonder if he put some of like what Mox told him into that. You know what I mean?
Well, what do you think about what he said? Do you think that Vince told him to say AEW, or do you think it was in the script, or did you think
I kind of tend to agree with what you with your theory. Well, it's not a theory, but because I read kind of the same stuff too. I kind of think that Vince thought it would be funny at first, put it in there, and then some of his yes men and higher up writers are probably like, "No, you should probably take that out, Vince. That's not a good idea." And then either that didn't get back to Sammy, or Sammy was like, "Fuck it," and said it anyway. And then Vince lost his shit.
I don't think actually that it came out at all. I don't think it was supposed to come out. I think
You think
that,
it so it was a shoot.
I think it was the third hour of Raw that has the lowest viewership of Monday Night Raw. And that Sami Zayn said the company that was the hottest, that's the hottest thing in wrestling right now, to gain some sort of reaction for the show, to make people tune in, to make those fucking Nielsen boxes go higher, to make that third hour of Raw in the ratings not look like fucking shit. I think that was purposely put in there.
So one word of a whole hour is their reaction to get better ratings.
Yeah, because that one word and that whole hour is done where people who are like, I'm not going to pay attention to WWE, then all of a sudden it clicks. Dude, in the Monday Night Wars, they used to mention them all the time. Used to go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Invading WCW.
WCW.
Yeah, that's not true. Vince wouldn't acknowledge WCW.
Yeah.
But WCW talked about WWE all the time.
They dropped it. Mick Foley became the champion, and from there it was all downhill. So it's kind of taboo almost to mention your competition on the air.
It is, and especially, I was an outside salesman for a long time for a company that sold construction materials, and we were taught as salesmen, like, you're not supposed to bury your competition at all. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to kind of compliment them, like, well, they have, that's a really great product they have, and let me tell you about this that we have. You know, you're not so. Yeah, it makes you look unprofessional. It makes you look small when you bury your competition. It makes you look like you're scared. Yeah, it makes you look like you're scared and you're not educated enough to say anything smarter.
Yeah, you give them all the reasons why this company is great, but then you also give them reasons why your company is better.
Yep.
Pretty much. You compliment them and then say what you can offer as well.
It's like promo work 101.
Yeah, easily. I'm trying to find anything on Raw's ratings.
They were non-existent.
I want to, because if I could find this, then I'll know exactly how the hours went.
There's a 5-minute spike in hour 3 where like 4 people watched. And then,
oh, apparently it was an all-time modern low.
Oh my God!
Here's my shocked
That's hilarious.
face.
You said what?
Here's my shocked face.
Oh, I can't find the actual numbers right now, so fuck it. We're just
there weren't any.
Dude, WWE is like becoming like the Nickelback of wrestling. It's almost like.
Look at this.
Oh, okay, here it is.
It's almost like, I don't know.
Oh no, that's the 26th. That's the May 6th.
This is how I got over playing a stand-up bass.
Raw ratings drew a
Yeah, that bad.
Yeah, no, that can't be right. No, okay, this is also saying things differently. So I'm not going to go with this one. It's from Wade Keller, Pro Wrestling Torch, but it's saying that it built from this is
Torch is reputable.
Yeah, but they're saying that they had a 1.61 rating, and that they had a 1.63, a 1.68, and a 1.73 before that. Remember, the ratings that we were looking at were like 2. Yeah, it's like really
I was like,
fucking
that's
low.
below TNA numbers.
Yeah,
dude.
that's
like below 2 million.
Oh, okay. The first hour drew 2.265 million. The second hour drew 2.254 million, and the third hour drew 2.05.
That's still fucking low.
Yeah, it's still. I agree. So let's fucking move on from that. We're done talking WWE's Raw and SmackDown.
Woo!
What we are going to talk about is NXT TakeOver 25. We're going to make our picks with Pro Wrestling Scorecards picks. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go to ProWrestlingScorecards.com. You can make your own picks, man. Get your own scorecard. ProWrestlingScorecards.com. Download the NXT 25 scorecard. And motherfuckers is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's true. Get your own scorecard. Motherfuckers, let's make some picks. All right?
Wait, are you still champion?
Nah, I'm relinquishing the title. I'm like War Raiders. I'm not really fighting for this anymore. Hey, midget stripper, you back off.
Do you have the experience to?
You know what? It's
I'm sorry.
I'm experienced BDR style.
Do
However,
we have a what is this?
that is a.
Okay.
I know you've never
before
seen
you
that
get
before.
real friendly with that.
That's my ex-girlfriend that I fucked 1,000 times.
Smitty's had sex on that.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Okay.
However, I also
licked
don't.
it.
And
Before
just
the
like
show
Smitty, it dropped a nut.
I'm still waiting for Smitty to get that belt fucking professional cleaned.
I think at this
As
point,
it currently stands, with 56 points from the Double or Nothing card, Nick is the current leader with 161 total. However, I can't say that, Nick, you're the champion yet because we don't know Smitty's numbers.
it doesn't matter.
I don't believe Smitty topped you because it would take a lot.
He's not here.
Yeah,
He
he's
doesn't win.
afraid to submit.
Even
it.
if he did win, it goes to Nick because Smitty didn't show up. For
it's on his mantle.
That is what he said, isn't it?
It is. I told him never to say that again. It's like, don't ever say mantle again.
All right, so NXT TakeOver 25 has quite a few good matches on there. First match is a singles match. Matt Riddle taking on Roderick Strong. Then there's the North American Championship match. Velveteen Dream defending against the returning OG of NXT, Tyler Breeze. Then there's a ladder match for the vacated NXT Tag Team Championships. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Street Profits versus Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era versus Forgotten Sons. I don't remember the two people that's fighting for them because they're forgotten. Then there's the NXT Women's Championship match. Shayna Baszler defending against Io Shirai. And then there's Johnny Gargano defending his NXT Championship against Adam Cole, baby. And, of course, there's the Table Destruction, only English or Spanish. What do you think is getting destroyed? And unscheduled appearances. 5 people tops. So, Nick, you're the champion. Do you want to go last or you want to go first?
I'll go first.
What?
Rookie mistake. Love it.
There goes your championship run.
It's like the Madden curse.
So if you're going first, then every pick is going to start off with you and go clockwise, and you're giving me last picks. I mean, my picks are already in, so
I'm
I
going to
don't
go last because I've got one on here that I'm not. Really.
Okay, so you're going to go last. Yeah. So then, actually, I need one.
That's like,
I need a pen. Just real quick.
Nick's like, fuck it. I'm just going to go face and be like, no, I'll defend it now. Fuck you guys.
There we go. All right.
I'm done. I'm good.
That's what she said. First match, Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. 3 extras.
So many of them said that to me.
I'm
done.
I'm done. Like
I get it. I'm like, okay, I get it.
I'm leaving now. I don't want to be here anymore. Fall type, match time plus or minus 1. Remember, if you get the match time directly on, dead on, you get an extra 2 points. And will there be outside
And
interference?
Smitty'll suck your dick.
Yes or no? Joe, you're first. Who do you got?
I have Spicoli, Matt Riddle winning by Bro Mission. 14-minute match time and yes to outside interference, actually.
All right. Z.
I have Roderick Tough beating Matt Puzzle.
Tough is not the same thing as strong.
By pinfall.
Tougher than a 50-cent steak.
18-minute match time, and no, there will not be interference.
You said pinfall 18, no interference?
Correct.
I also have the lamest character in sports entertainment, Matt Riddle,
Bro.
going over by submission.
You don't like Matt Riddle?
13-minute match time and outside interference, yes. No, I fucking don't. We'll go into after Nick's picks.
You don't like Matt Riddle?
Dude,
We're going after
Riddle's
and-
awesome.
Like
we're
he's-
going into it after Nick's picks.
Got Riddle with submission, 17 minutes, and yes to outside interference.
Yeah, I don't like Matt Riddle.
Why?
He is
Why
so
don't you?
fucking boring.
No, he's not.
How the fuck do you figure?
Can you kick your flip-flops off into the crowd?
Yeah.
Both of them at the same time,
time?
in different places?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
lie.
You give me flip flops? I'll take a video of it tonight. I'll take a video of it tonight.
I'm going to go see if I have flip-flops.
I have flip flops at home.
I might have flip-flops in the trunk.
That's awesome. Well, then that'll be part of our extra video after the show on Periscope.
Woohoo! Content for Patreon.
Yeah, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, he's just so bland.
Dude,
He's so good in the ring,
I
though.
made the
like-
most pessimistic wrestling fan on the face of the earth.
Got a point.
Not me. Not me. You know who I'm talking about.
Vito?
Our buddy Vito. I made him, and he had not watched NXT or anything WWE related in a very long time. And I made him watch the last takeover, and he watched Riddle, and I made him a fan of Riddle. If the most pessimistic wrestling fan on the face of the earth is a fan of Matt Riddle, how are you not?
I think he's boring.
I disagree.
I
think he's fun.
I don't even think he's fun.
I do.
I
would love,
dude.
I would love to see a Rob Van Dam versus Matt Riddle match.
That's a fucking weed match, and that's the thing. You know
Dude,
why?
but they both get gold.
Let me be very honest. That's probably why you guys fucking love him.
No, I know.
I like
beyond
because
the
of his
gimmick. I like his in-ring style. I like his crispness. Like I think he's got a really, really good future. Stoner gimmick or not.
Yeah, he's got a lot of charisma too. I like his backstory too.
Well, yeah, that's where the pot comes into
Well,
play.
no, like
but-
a little bit, but I mean, this guy was a ranked top 10 fighter in the world when Dana White fired him because of what he said, not because of what he did.
What did he say?
That sounds familiar to me.
Well,
Oh,
they
it's on the Matt Riddle. It's a Matt Riddle special on fucking at NXT on WWE Network.
and I think he said the story on Edge and Christian's podcast. He popped for a marijuana drug test in UFC, but he's got his medical marijuana card. Like he's a legal user, whatever. But that doesn't matter. That's fine for if a cop pulls you over. But if the company you work for doesn't want you to smoke pot, they don't know. That's their prerogative.
Sure.
But anyway, so him and Dana butted heads over that, and Matt Riddle's basically like, "Look, dude, all your fucking fighters on your roster are taking fucking PEDs, whether they're popping for it or not. If they're not popping for it, they're finding ways around it. Like, and you're fucking getting on me for marijuana, which is not anything performance enhancing." And he's like, "I'll beat the fuck out of all your performance enhancing motherfucker," you know.
So Matt Riddle's hanging out with
And
Joe
so
Rogan.
Dana White got all buttered about that shit and fired him. And Matt Riddle went to wrestling.
Yeah. No, I just
think that's a great story. Honestly.
I agree, but my whole situation on why I don't like Riddle. One, I'm not saying he's bad in the ring. I really don't think he's bad in the ring. But I think as a character, I think he's so plain because it's the same thing over and over again. When he first came to WWE, when I saw him in Evolve, when he first came to WWE, it's just the same. And the problem
He's young.
is I've
He'll
seen
evolve.
but the same thing as I've seen the fucking specials on him and other things, and he's no different in the ring than he is in person. And that's fine, dude, because that's more of you. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. Nothing about this man makes me go, can't wait to watch him wrestle again.
Hey man, that's your opinion. Wrestling,
Like not
wrestling like any other art is subjective.
Fair enough.
You're
but
allowed to like and dislike what you
so
want.
if Matt Riddle keeps dropping like 4-star matches, you're still not going to like him like solely based on like character and charisma, not in ring ability.
I can think somebody is amazing in the ring, but I'm not. If I can't connect with them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know that's fair.
Yeah, and that's just what it is, because it took a long time for me to like Randy Orton too. And now the way Randy works, I love Randy Orton, but like Joe said, there was a time where I was right on with Joe, where I thought he was one of the most bland characters. But
I really liked Orton in his younger years,
Yeah.
and then he got so bland. And then now later, I've started to like him a little bit more
and
again.
I'm agreeing with that. But at the same time, I would never take away from Randy's in-ring work, because I think Randy's
he's
in-ring
crisp as
is
fuck.
so beautiful. But there was, again, a good amount of years that I was just like, oh, I care less about Randy Orton day in and day out, But again, that's, like you said, that's all of our opinions, and we're allowed to all have them, Up next is the North American Championship match. Velveteen Dream defending against Tyler Breeze. Who is the winner? Fall type, pin, submission, countout, or DQ. Number of near falls, +or-1. A number of aerial moves, +or-1. Z, you're kicking this one off.
I have the Vaseline Dream by pinfall. 4 near falls, 5 aerial moves. Joe, give me a beer.
Joe, you better hurry up, man. There's only 2 people to pick before you. Say it again. Z, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
Okay. Vaseline Dream by pinfall, 4 near falls, 5 aerial moves.
All right. I have Dream Over by pinfall, 4 near falls, and 4 aerial moves. Joe?
I got the Dream. Pinfall. 4 near falls and 7 aerial moves.
All right. Nick?
Dream, pin with 5 near falls and 6 aerial moves.
All right. Up next is the Tag Team Championship match for the vacated NXT titles. A ladder match between Lorcan and Birch, Street Profits, Undisputed Era, and the Forgotten Sons, Blake and Cutler. There we go.
There you go.
Winner,
Good job.
who is the first to climb the ladder, who's the first to touch the belt, who's the first hit with a ladder, who is the number of aerial moves, +or-1, and who is the last to touch the belt and lose. I'm kicking this one off. I have the Undisputed Era winning this. Montez Ford is going to be the first to climb the ladder. Wesley Blake will be the first to touch the belt. Kyle O'Reilly will be the first hit with the ladder. 6 aerial moves. And the last to touch the belt and lose is going to be Angelo Dawkins. Joe.
Who do you got winning this?
Undisputed Era.
All right. I got the Forgetful Sons.
Who?
Yeah.
What?
Winning this thing.
Huh?
Kyle O'Reilly, first to climb. Oni Lorcan, first to touch the belt. Danny Birch, first to get hit with the ladder. 11 aerial moves, and last to touch the belt and lose, Montez Ford.
All right. Z.
I have Era winning. I have Angelo Dawkins climbing the ladder first. Oni Lorcan is the first to touch the belt. Murphy is the first to get hit with the ladder.
Murphy's not in it.
It's
Blake and Cutler.
Blake Murphy. Murphy Blake.
Thought it was
Buddy Murphy.
Murphy
Yeah,
is
no,
on
no, no.
SmackDown
yeah, so
now.
Wesley
Yeah, no,
Blake.
that's Wesley Blake. That one.
I'm like, dude, you're wrong.
I always thought it was
you can always forget him.
Murphy Brown. 6 aerial moves, and Cutler will be the last one to touch the belt before
All right.
losing.
Nick.
Street Profits, Bobby Fish is going to be the first to climb the ladder. Oni Lorcan will be the first to touch. First to get hit with it is Kyle O'Reilly. 9 aerial moves, and Steve Cutler will be the last to touch it.
My Uncle Oni was the first to touch me, too.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, Balake hit me with his ladder.
Fucking.
Uncle Oni touch.
Ew. That was not good.
It was gentle.
Up next, the Women's Championship match. Shayna Baszler defending against Io Shirai. Who's the winner? How will they win? Pin, submission, countout, or DQ? Number of finishers executed, +or-1. The finishers are the Kirifuda Clutch or the Moonsault. And will there be outside interference? Yes or no? Joe, you're kicking this one off.
Okay, Io Shirai's hot butt will not win. It'll be Sharon Slorbin by submission. 2 finishers and yes to outside interference.
All right. Z.
I have Corbin beating Io Sherry by submission. 3 finishers.
What do you owe her?
Yes to outside interference. I don't know yet.
All right.
She hasn't told me.
I've owed her for, the past 3 pay-per-views, and she hasn't told me yet.
I have Io Shirai going over by pinfall. 3 number of finishers executed and yes to outside interference. Nick.
I wanted to put Shirai, but I'm going to go with the safe pick and say Baszler submission. 3 finishers. 3 finishers.
3 finishers.
3 finishers and yes to outside interference.
Put some new furniture in my apartment.
Interference.
Oh, indifference. Up next is the final match on the card, the NXT Championship match. Johnny Gargano defending against Adam Cole, baby. Who is winning? Fall type, pin, submission, counter, or DQ. Match time in minutes, plus or minus 1. Number of near falls, plus or minus 1. Remember, a near fall is any 2 count. And will there be outside interference? Yes or no? This is Z.
I got Johnny Takeover by pinfall. 28-minute match time. 6 near falls. And yes, there will be outside interference.
I have Adam Cole winning by pinfall. 24-minute match time. 6 near falls. And yes, there will be some outside interference. Joe.
I have Johnny Wrestling by submission. 34-minute match time. There's only 5 matches on here.
True.
They'll probably add a surprise one, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, 9 near falls and yes to outside interference.
All right, Nick.
I've got Coleslaw. 25 minutes. Sorry, pin, 25 minutes. 9 near falls and yes to interference.
Outside interference. Announce table destruction. There's only 2 announce tables, the English and the Spanish. I have them both safe. Joe?
I have English being destroyed and Spanish not.
Both safe.
Nick?
English safe, Spanish destroyed.
All right.
I'd destroy a Spanish. Never mind.
For another show.
Zelina Vega. Next is the unscheduled appearances. 5 names. Each of them count as 3 points, so a grand total of possible 15 points from this. Joe, you're leading this one off.
All right, I got Kushida, Cassius Ohno, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Jessa Dudeman. Jessamine Duke. Jessa Dudeman.
Jessa Dukeman.
Jessa Dudeman.
All right. Z.
Who are the 2 chicks that
Jessa Dudeman.
Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir.
And Roddy's wife. Whatever the fuck her name is.
Marina Shafir.
Can I get those both at a slower pace? I'm kind of dumb.
Jessamine Duke.
Shafir, like
Shafir.
Got it. Shafir
And Duke. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Keith Lee, Cassius, and Kushida.
All right. I have Eric, Ivar, Kushida, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins.
You said Eric and Ivar.
That's their names now. You have to go with that.
Yeah, I know.
Quick question.
Answer.
On the off note that they fuck it up and they call them like Hanson or something, like announce them as, do you lose points?
No. Because that's who they are. Nick.
Ono, Keith Lee, Jessamine Duke, Marino Shafir.
Marino.
And
Dan Marino Shafir.
Kushida.
Laces out.
I'll be honest,
Ray
man.
Finkel, everybody. Ray Finkel.
Einhorn is Finkel.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn. Do you know people were bitching about that fucking movie?
Why?
Because they said that it's you're mocking transgenders. And I was
my
like,
God.
how? The person's not transgender. They fucking made themselves a woman just to get back at everyone. And was that transgender? They didn't feel like a woman.
Hey, you know what it wasn't doing 10 years ago?
I'm honestly surprised you guys didn't throw in any old school people. It's the 25th anniversary.
I know, but Those are always so random. It's like
Time out. Pause.
Who are you changing?
I'm going
KO, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode,
Seth Rollins,
Finn Balor,
Nakamura,
Bray Wyatt.
Balor.
Oh, you're changing everyone.
And then Shafir and Duke.
So you have Rollins, Nakamura, Balor, Shafir, and Duke.
Yep.
Luke Duke.
Oh, Big E might be there too. I don't know. This could be like the whole crowd could just be live.
Yeah, I honestly feel that. I mean, I pick Rollins because he's the first ever NXT champion.
Yep.
So it's a smart idea to throw.
Balor
him in.
was the longest reigning.
Yep.
Nakamura just needs to be seen.
Could see him. I could see the women showing up too. I could see Charlotte being there. You know, I just felt like Eric and Ivar are going to be there for the simple fact that the titles are going over because of them. You know, so it's just like.
But I think they're done. I think that was it. I think that's why they vacated them. Otherwise, they'd be in this match.
But at the same time, though, it's because they went to Raw. But fucking Asuka was there when the women took the women's championship. You know, she was in the audience.
Yeah, but she was.
I'm not saying that
injured,
she's going to hand it over. I'm not saying they're going to hand it over. But I could see them being in the audience and everything like that, and like giving the nod to whoever takes it. Especially if it's Undisputed Era, because of the amount of times that they went back and forth. So that's it, guys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen. You tuned in to Breaking Down the Ring. We're the greatest fucking wrestling show in the motherfucking world, period. I didn't go into...
I want to change mine again.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ.
I'm going to take off Nakamura, and I'm going to take off Duke, and I'm going to put in the Iconics.
Iconic.
Okay. Smart.
And then I'm going to change it again.
Do you want to put R-Truth on there? 24/7 title can be defended live on NXT.
2-time 24/7 champion.
Then I need to put the B team on there. Titus O'Neil, Robert Roode. Robert Roode's probably a good one.
Yeah. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, I didn't talk much about StarCast, but the experience was fucking great. I was there with the Pro Wrestling Scorecards crew. Got to hang out at their booth, meet a whole lot of wrestling fans. Meet a whole lot of wrestlers. Like right next to us, on the right side of us, was Rikishi and the Samoan Dynasty, Tonga Kid, and, the Usos' younger brother, Sefa Fatu. It was really cool. And then on the left side of us is something that I want to definitely put over. Smack Talk Showdown game. Think of it like Cards Against Humanity meets wrestling. You're flipping cards and you're cutting 45-second promos on your friends. And
we're playing this live on the air.
We're going to be playing this live on the air, not next week, because I don't think we're going to have a show next week.
Why?
Well, I won't be
Nick can run the board.
Sure. If you guys want to have a show.
You're welcome, Nick, for volunteering.
Thank you.
You guys want to do that? Go for it. That's fine.
I mean, we could literally have a show of us playing in the game because we know Raw and SmackDown will be shit. So.
Yeah, well, I have the game, not you.
Well, we need to borrow it. It's that simple.
Sorry.
Naga.
I'll be in Mackinac with my kids, so for a field trip. But yeah,
All right,
StarCast
so
is great. Right behind us
Fudge.
we're just trying to get this throw done, man.
We still got time.
Yeah,
we're not running over. We need fucking fudge.
But the minute we go into this, it's going to just take forever. I ain't giving nobody no fudge. Fudge you. That's what I want.
Yes, that's what I want.
Packer.
No, right behind. So on the left of the Smack Talk Showdown, guys, right behind me was Blue Meanie, and then next to him was Hornswoggle. And I went up to Hornswoggle and I told him how he's part of one of the greatest days of my life. So getting him in.
Where the fuck was the picture of that?
I didn't take it. Sorry, man. Those guys everyone was around those guys. So anyone who's listening from the beginning, if you guys heard, we have a brand new fucking intro. And all of those people that were saying hi and everything like that, like, I went to them at specific times when no one was bugging them, because I didn't want to be like, hey, can I get a photo and this, because the way I look at it is I dropped $20 for these photos, There were other ones I wanted to get, but they were forcing me to go through the StarCast people to pay the money for that. And then it was like, okay, yeah, I could do that, but then
you got to go to the booth and get the ticket.
Yeah, get the booth and go on the fucking phone, and then I go and they scan it and so on and so forth. But at the same time, I don't know if they're going to have a line when I get there, So it's...
I don't know if it's anything like Comic-Con, but if you were paying cash, that didn't matter. You could just get in line and pay cash when you.
No, I asked.
Oh, okay.
Because I went to Hurricane. I went to Ron Simmons. I wanted to get Ron Simmons saying, "You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring."
Damn.
Right? And great.
And Shane Helms with the Hurricane reference. Yeah.
Right. So, luckily, Colt gave me a good ending when he was like, "You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. Break it down." And I was like, all right, so I'll close it that way. But I really did want to end it with Ron Simmons saying, "You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring." Damn. Hurricane Helms, I tried to talk to him as well. Again, you needed a fucking... I was like, man, I have cash right fucking here. It's $30. Can I just...
I talked to him on the cruise for a minute. He was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he was walking around. He was really nice with everyone, man. And but the problem is I wasn't going to pay this money and then only get a photo. I can get a photo with anyone,
Anytime, anywhere. 24/7.
Yeah.
The European champion.
Let me in.
So, but everyone was really cool. But I will say, everyone that I was like, hey, can I get a soundbite for our show, my podcast? And they were all like, what do you need? Like, they were all fucking hesitant as fuck. I was like, I'm not asking for an interview. I was like, I just want to get 5-10 seconds of you saying this is so-and-so and you're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. Cole Cabana was hilarious because his was just, he was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. I was all right. And then he did it when he threw the Art of Wrestling podcast in there. I was like, I'm not even going to delete that, man. Like, I'm really not. That's fucking great that you threw that in there. Killer Cross was really nice. Scarlett Bordeaux, also really cool. Usually when you meet the people are, oh, these are some of the best looking women in wrestling, they can be a little standoffish because people are fucking creeps. But no, she was really fucking sweet. Killer Cross was really nice. Dude, just in talking to him, I was like, the way this guy has a mind for the business, I really think he has the tools to be something huge down the line in wrestling. And I would love to see that. Brian Cage was cool. I actually got Brian Cage the second day. Like, I took the photo with him the day before, and I went to him day 2. I was like, hey, I forgot to ask this because I'm a goddamn idiot. I will gladly pay you another $20 for a fucking autograph or something, but can I get a soundbite for the podcast? And he was like, no, man, I'll just do it. And so made me think Brian Cage, really fucking cool. So I had a blast. StarCast 3 is coming to Chicago. All Out is coming to Chicago. The Labor Day weekend, August 31st, is All Out. So I'm hoping to bring our podcast there, man. Maybe a vendor, maybe be on Podcast Row with a couple of the other shows. Reach out and touch them. That's the plan. You guys down for that?
But first, Lorne's got to do it first. Orkin's got to do it first.
You already touched Joe.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be a part of that.
Uncle Oni touch a lot.
Uncle Lorkin's lurking.
That's a good one.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, fuck off. That's it. We are done. We are your ring crew.
It's Nick. Oh, fucking Joe.
And me, the almighty one, the former ring crew champion, Mikey himself. Catch me at your next StarCast. I'm out.